And it is, hey, Twitchers, what do you call multiple Twitchers? People on Twitch. Hey, people on Twitch. Hey, YouTubers. Hey, Facebookers. Here we are.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Story Ninja Live, the show where your friendly neighborhood writing ninjas, Allie Cross, that's me, and Ann Hunter,
What's up?
talk shop and teach chops and keops.
Hi.
This month, we're discussing mythology and luck. And today, Anne's going to talk about what is a fractured fairy tale and how we can write one and why you might want to. I don't even know. I'm so excited. I'm so lucky that Anne is my partner in crime here and that she's got my back. So come on into the dojo. We've got you. So, how are you doing, Anne?
Good. How are you? What'd you get done this week?
I wrote many words,
Huzzah!
which was very awesome. How about you?
I think I got unstuck with both the projects I'm working on. I figured out that I need to break down all of the chapters into individual scenes, like chapter beats, but for scenes.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's going to help a lot moving forward. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is
No,
like it takes days at a time to do lots of chapters.
I want to like banish all instances of us second guessing or whatevering ourselves because everybody writes a story differently.
Mhm.
And like some people do a lot of their writing in their heads before they even get to the page. So they might be a couple months or more not even writing a book. Um, but in their head, the story is unfolding, you know? Um, Terry Brooks, one of my favorite fantasy writers, in his book on writing, but I can't remember what it's called. It's not called On Writing because that's Stephen King's book. But he talks about this thing that he calls book dreaming. And he'll like literally just be sitting out on his lawn chair. He may have his eyes closed, but he's not sleeping, and but he is often inaccessible to his family. Like they could maybe be talking to him and it's just become a thing amongst his kids and everything that he is book dreaming. So he's working, man. It might not be keys, fingers on the keys, but when he shows up to write, he's writing. But he's also writing when he's book dreaming or, you know, etc. So I don't think there should be any excuses like it doesn't sound like a lot because it's a lot in your writing process. You did a thing. That's amazing. Awesome. Congratulations, Anne. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
Yeah.
We got
So
to yes,
take it
ma'am each
away,
other.
Anne.
Okay, so we're going to
Tell me
talk
how to write a
about.
fractured fairy tale because I have to write one by the end of this year. So
Oh,
tell me now, tell me how.
yeah, you've been begging me to participate, but I got too much on my plate right now.
I don't know what that means, and so I continue to say yes to things. But I mean, I was asked to do this last year. Last year, 2024 was wide open. So I had all the time. Okay, never mind.
In
Carry
my
on.
head, it's already June. So,
I
okay,
know, it does kind of feel like that. It's weird.
the reason we chose mythology for this month is because of St. Patrick's and heritage and exploring all that is really fun. I'll come back to that. First of all, we want to talk about what we're going to We're going to discuss fractured fairy tales and what that is. But first, we need to know what a fairy tale is. Now, you may know, oh, I know what a fairy tale is. It's like Cinderella and Snow White. But the origin of fairy tales was really more fables with moral lessons. So even something as simple as Aesop's fables that had morals to them could be considered some of the earliest fairy tales. Um, what a fractured fairy tale is when you take elements of a fairy tale and make them your own. A good example of this is you could take like what I like to teach is take three easily recognizable symbols from a story. For example, I'm going to give you three symbols and you're going to tell me what story it is. Okay, Allie? Okay. So make sure you have your microphone on so that you can tell me what the answer. Okay.
Oh yeah, I
So,
said okay, I'm ready.
okay. The three are okay. Um, a shoe, a carriage, a clock. What fairy tale is that?
What was the first one?
A shoe, a carriage, and a clock.
I still can't catch the first one, but is it Beauty and the Beast?
Hang on, hang on. A shoe? Is it
Oh, a shoe. Cinderella.
a clock? Yes.
Cinderella.
Okay, now another one would be a spindle, a spell, and a prince.
Sleeping Beauty.
There you go. So those
Oh,
are
sorry.
when you can take easily recognizable symbols from a story, that is when you can start blending to make your own fairy tale. For example, um, if you look closely, Beauty and the Beast is a girl, a beast, and um, not necessarily like a rose, but there's a time limit on it. And believe it or not, another famous story is based on Beauty and the Beast. It's a little ditty written by Gaston Giraud named Phantom of the Opera. And you've got the girl, the beast, and like the time limit that he has on her and all the pressures and stuff. And ultimately, at the end of the story of Beauty and the Beast lets her go, and so does Phantom. Spoiler if you haven't read or seen Phantom. It was written in the 1600s, which was about 100 years after Beauty and the Beast was written. The original Beauty and the Beast was written in French. I believe it's called something like La Belle et la Bête. Um, I say a lot, but that's like the gist of um how to write a fractured fairy tale. You take something and you put a spin on it. One of the stories I've done, it's you've got a shoe, a clock, um, excuse me, and a prince. Well, I took those for Cinderella and turned it into an assassin clock punk Cinderella. And so you've got this mega corporation owned by the royal family, and the pollution is killing people. So Cinderella has a vendetta against the prince because the corporation also killed her mother, and she goes after the prince, um, and she ends up falling for him. Trope. And there's a shoe and a clock and all that, but it's still Cinderella. Another one is one of the earliest fables you might hear as a child is a chicken, um, a threat, and an acorn. and that would be the little red hen. Well, I took that and turned it into an aura seeing red hen who was hit by a little neurotic acorn with a lot of anxiety, and she has to save the world. The chicken has to save the world. And that's also like in the little red hen that she thinks the sky is falling, so she has to go and tell the king so that she can save the world. So with this, we've got I actually named the acorn Little Sky because he fell out of the sky. So he is a piece of the sky and hit the chicken in the head. And now she can see auras and hear him talk. And yeah, it's really fun to take things and make them your own. Um, Great examples of fractured fairy tales that you can look up. Um, Check out books by K.M. Shea. That's K.M. And then the last name is Shea. She's got a lot of good fractured fairy tales. Jenny James is a big name in fractured fairy tales. Both of them are indies. Jenny James has reached the acclaim of having her fractured fairy tales turned into movies these days, which is really like a huge goal for a lot of indie authors and authors in general, I think, because we all have those lofty aspirations. Um, a good traditional fractured fairy tale would be like Marissa Meyer. I can't talk today. What's wrong with my tongue? Who wrote Cinders? And there's also I can't remember who wrote Beastly, but that's reverse Beauty and the Beast. And yeah, that's fractured fairy tales are really simple. You just take three really well recognizable um plots, not tropes. I can't think of the word.
Well, you said elements before,
Yeah.
and that's good.
Okay, so three plot elements and figure out how you can spin that to make your own story while keeping it recognizable as the original fairy tale
Mhm.
and yeah, twisting it. It's fun to write them because you can go pretty twisted.
Yeah, I wrote a book called Blood Crown that I thought was a retelling of Cinderella, but in listening to you talk, I realized it wasn't. Like, yeah, it just I didn't have any of those particularly recognizable things. I had a princess in disguise, or like a princess who was um like lowered to the bottom caste, like to servant, whatever, who um and I had a prince who fell in love with her even when he thought she was nobody. Um but I didn't have a slipper or a, you know, some of those things. Like,
Right. One of the things that I can say right off the top of my head, a favorite fairy tale of yours and mine is actually a fractured fairy tale is Ever After. That's another really
oh
great
yeah, like
example
we
of a
talked about
fractured
before.
fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all the elements of Cinderella, including the two, and yeah. So Ever After is a great example of a fractured fairy tale. And what are some of your favorite fairy tales, Allie?
Um, so I don't really know. I didn't really grow up with favorite fairy tales. I don't recall ever reading a fairy tale except for like in school, maybe. Um, I like, yeah, there were no mushy feelings or whatever about a fairy tale. Um, but I like Beauty and the Beast like a lot, and I think a lot of girls do or did because it felt whoa because sorry fidgeting because it it doesn't really feel as much like she takes care of herself, man.
Yeah.
You know, like but similar to Cinderella. Like yes, Cinderella gets a fairy godmother, but she did try to just go to the ball by
Yeah.
herself. She just got shot down. But I like that in both of those stories, the girl has a problem, and she at least attempts to solve them herself. Um, so I think that I like those stories best for that reason, but I'm trying to think of retellings that I've enjoyed. I didn't, I liked Cinders, but not enough to read the next books in the series. Um, but I can't remember why. There was a lot, like I really liked their romance and stuff, but I just can't remember. Um, I don't know. I'm not very good at fairy tales. I've already said this. I took a whole class last semester on fairy tales, basically, primarily on water-based fairy tales. And we studied fairy tales from all over, like not just the American or not American, but like the Grimm,
Yeah.
Brother Grimm fairy tales. Um, and that was really interesting. Like I got to see some different perspectives to the Little Mermaid, for instance, and some
I
which
like
there
grim
are
because they are grim.
um and a lot of perspectives that other writers have taken. And I don't know, what do you think it is about taking a fairy tale and rewriting it? Like, why do we as readers go, ooh, it's a Cinderella retelling, or ooh, it's a Little Mermaid retelling? Like, what is it? I didn't even grow, like, it's not even just a harkening back to our childhood thing. It can't be just that because, like I said, I didn't grow up with fairy tales. But something in it, even without that, I still go, ooh, why do you think that is?
I think it feels magical, especially if you go back to like the dawn of man when we'd sit around campfires and tell stories. I think there's a familiarity in fairy tales that we just feel drawn to, and there's something magical about connecting with other people over a shared experience or story.
Yeah, I actually think that sounds totally exactly right. That it's familiar in our subconscious, and therefore there's an appeal. Like we kind of already know, and also a similar sort of thing to why we love tropes and why we sit down. I remember, I'll probably tell this story many times, so I apologize if anybody hears
Hey,
it
we're
more than
not
5 times.
apologizing for stuff, remember?
Ah, well, ah. Um, like there's this one time I was watching a Christmas Hallmark movie, and usually around Christmas time, I literally like record or watch live as much as I can every single new Christmas movie. um, and they're not just on Hallmark anymore, so it's like quite the enterprise. Anyways, I was watching one, and Charlie, one of my sons, walked in and he says, "Haven't you seen this one before?" And I said, no, because I knew it was a new one. But then I thought about the story and I was like, well, I mean, no, but it is this, you know,
Yeah.
we've seen this story, this kind of story before. And he said, well, why do you even watch those? Because this
Does it
is going
make
to
you feel
happen, this is going to
crazy?
happen, this is going to happen,
Yeah.
and then they're going to be together. And I'm like, yeah. So, like,
There's there's
like,
something
yes.
comforting. There's something
So,
comforting about predictability
yeah,
that,
well, but what was funny is that as he was talking, cutting it down, saying, but it's just going to be this, 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 and this. And I was like, yeah, he sat down and ended up watching the whole rest of the show with me because, he too felt like it's fun and interesting to see how an author is going to make it their own.
Yeah.
And I think that that's as much fun. And I know that a lot of my fans love the fairy tale retellings. Like they're often requested in our book club and everything. And they get excited. Ooh, it's a this is like a fairy tale. And I totally think it for them, it really is I wonder how they're going to deal with this part of the story and deal with, like the shoe, the clock, and the carriage. Like, what is that going to be like? And there's, like you said, a comfort in the familiarity because they know that in the end they're going to get a happily ever after, um, unless it's a true grim fairy tale
Yeah.
retelling.
I
And
love those.
then you got to
Then it
watch
gets pretty
out because
twisted. Yeah.
yes, and many of them, most of them, none of them, I think possibly had a happily ever after, Um, but anyways, I think that people almost become collectors of fairy tales, like they love Cinderella and they'll read every book that they can find that is built on the Cinderella story or
Hmm.
is a Cinderella retelling. And I think my fans, a lot of them are that way.
Yeah, and it's easy to like create a concept quickly. Like just while you were talking, I got to thinking about the three elements in Cinderella. I'm like, well, what if she recently lost her father? It's a modern day retelling. Um and she recently lost her father, and she was a really good rock climber and had these goals and aspirations. So you've got the special shoe already there because rock climbing shoes. She's already lost her father and has a step family, and then she has a set time limit to reach the top, or her boyfriend's gonna fall. So there you've got your shoe and the clock and the prince, and yeah, she can even have like a really cool car that she got from her dad when he died. That could be your carriage.
Okay. So, do you have anything more that you wanted to teach?
No, just those simple things. That's basically how you do a fractured
Okay.
fairy tale. Just
So,
put spins on what's
I
familiar.
want I need to write a friggin' fairy tale retelling. So,
I was gonna
help
say,
me come up with the concept for it right
um,
now. Hey, hi,
okay,
Belle. Woo!
well, what
We have
is
a live person. It's Belle. It's Belle. It's super awesome, Belle. Well, then maybe that is just Kismet then, because her name is Belle. So maybe I should do a Beauty and the Beast retelling in
okay?
honor of Belle showing up at the very moment at which I was saying, help me. And I'll just write the story that we say,
Help me,
probably.
Yoda. Okay. Okay, so your basic
So, Belle, you
elements
can
of,
help me out here.
yeah, voice in what you think. These are my suggestions, is that the common elements are going to be like a pretty girl, a monster, and um like there's a time limit on him, because if he doesn't win over her love, then he'll be doomed, right?
Right.
So, an
So I all
example,
right away am thinking this is a sci-fi. He is a cyborg or something, and he's maybe going to get shut off or something unless she can
okay,
prove, unless he like he earns her love kind of
uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah, you're going
Um,
in. Have you seen the Orville, the TV show?
yes.
It makes me think of Isaac and the doctor.
Oh, yeah. There's actually a couple. I mean, heck, love who you want, man.
So
Love is love.
I wanted to say, Beauty and the Beast was one of the first books I released as an indie. I wanted to explore my own Celtic heritage, so I was able to use um, Celtic mythology, Celtic monsters, and turn it into. I took a spin on the beauty. The beauty is actually the beast. He's
Hmm.
like her own worst enemy, because she is vain,
I love it,
very,
Belle.
very
Good
vain.
ideas. Uh
And
huh.
then the prince is a physical monster. Like he takes the physical form of a monster, but he's actually the more beautiful soul. So that's one way to spin the
Hmm.
tale. And there's a time limit before one of them is doomed to be stuck that way.
I wonder how funny it would be to do like use The Bachelor as but I mean the Bachelorette kind of thing. Like she is the one who gets to choose from all of these beings,
Yeah, that would give her your time limit.
and um, because there's a rose, right?
Hmm.
And she would have to give him the rose, and
There you go.
I think it would be funny. But I don't know if I can do humor.
You
But
can.
and I don't really watch The Bachelor, but I have a friend who does. She could probably. But yeah, like Belle said, he can't drink. Wait, I want to try something just because I want to see how to do it. Um, let's see. Bella's on YouTube, so I'm going to. Nope, never mind. Don't know how to do it. I was gonna try to like put her comment up, but I don't really know how to do that. So, um, but that might be a funny way. She said, anyways, I didn't finish my thought that he can't drink this elixir or whatever that will keep him sentient until he finds true love. So, I mean, my whole Dragon Protocol book is about the singularity, the human beings are essentially cyborgs, but it's just how humans are now. Like they are just part technology, they got whatever. And so I would definitely probably want to lean into something like that, just because, um, oh, she says, she says, I have an idea. Do an anthology for this. I would love to write a short story for this. Sorry for shouting. Um, uh,
We're all
that,
for shouting. That's how you key up. That.
yes, in the dojo, exuberance and such is not frowned upon. Like, be as loud as you want when you're shouting your kiops, man.
Yeah, that is a
Um,
battle cry. We want to hear
yeah,
your battle cries.
yeah, for sure. So I really, oh, this is fun, and I like the idea of doing it too with The Bachelor, kind of like it's like a trope within a trope, kind of sort of. Although
Yeah.
I know trope isn't the right word, but I don't know what is the right word because it would be funny and fun when readers recognized it. I think it just adds to the enjoyment. The wolves could be competition or
Hmm.
something or other. I don't know.
Oh, and if you're gonna go that way, there's got to be like tension building and a major fist fight between the potential beast and the wolves
Yeah,
that she
I
like
gotta,
saves me from.
I'll have to think on this, but I think it would be fun. Belle is a sci-fi writer. So Belle, you cannot write this exact story. So go write your own, but ask me, Belle, because I am writing this for an anthology. I'm not doing it, but someone else is. And I believe they are still open to submissions and such. So send me a DM or whatever it is on YouTube. And because I don't actually know, I think you should, I don't know, drop me your email or something so I can send it because it's a Facebook group and I know you're not there anymore. Um, so that is fun. Yeah, yeah. She said she would love to submit for that. So no
Nice.
problem. Just send me the message because I'm gonna totally forget. Um, oh, she is back on Facebook. Good times. I'll go find her.
Yay.
Okay. I have to think about that idea, I guess, before I can ask for more tips. But but I like it that I've been really dragging my feet because I don't know, I just didn't have an idea really, but this feels like an idea I can get
Run
behind.
with.
So I'll have to do some noodling on it and then some writing since probably I need, I think they're planning on publishing in December-ish. So they probably want their pieces in by September or
You can do it.
something.
Yep.
I should go look
So,
at it and figure out what it is. Oh
um,
gosh.
I
It's
like to
so fun
call.
to be me. It's like living in a surprise party every day. Every day there's a new surprise that probably I already knew about, but I forgot. And so then it's like,
You by
surprise
surprise.
all over again. They aren't always good surprises, but hey, at least
I
it
like to
keeps life
think of
not boring.
I like to think of Fractured Fairy Tales as the fun book to let loose on.
Yeah.
Um, After you've been writing all the serious, like dystopian or contemporary, whatever, you need to go and write something
Or,
kind of like that goes really off the rails in your mind. So what I like to call it is my Purple Pony books. It's not actually about ponies, but I used to customize model horses and sell them. And one of my favorite things to do was to create they're termed decos, and it's when it's a model horse in colors that don't actually exist in normal horse colors. So like a purple horse. Okay. So I would get really happy because I love purple and I would paint a purple pony to break away from all the bays and blacks and chestnuts. So
yeah,
that's I like to refer to Fractured Fairy Tales, for me anyway, as my Purple Pony books. It's
I
you just
love
like
it.
get to let loose
And
and let your imagination go crazy.
for sure. And also when you need a break from writing a series, like a long series, um, sometimes you just need to let loose a little bit. Some of those random ideas that you're not going to really throw into a novel or a series. It's fun. And people are almost always looking for submissions for this kind of thing.
Yeah,
Fairy tales, short stories, novellas, the like. You know, whip that baby out. Um,
do it,
but
do it, do it,
be,
do it,
yeah.
do it.
All right. Well, are we done? I mean, we can have a shorter thing. It doesn't have to be a whole hour.
I don't know.
I'll ask Belle.
I was gonna mention another movie that like I kind of feel like there's a difference between fractured fairy tales and fairy tale retellings, where the
Okay, tell
fractured
me.
actually well, I think like the fractured fairy tale would actually have elements recognizable from that story versus, oh, this kind of feels like that story. So going back to Cinderella, Ever After is definitely a fractured fairy tale of Cinderella because it has all the elements, versus a retelling like Ella Enchanted. Like you can kind of see that it's very similar to Cinderella, and not like similar to any other story per se. Um, and also like Into the Woods would be a great example of fairy tale retellings because they resemble the the fairy tales that they come from, but they follow them more dead on. Like Jack actually goes up the beanstalk instead of like saying, "Oh, Jack went on the elevator and met the big scary boss," right? And the corporate boss. So, yeah, there's like a fine line between retellings and fractured fairy tales, in my opinion.
So I just looked it up. Sorry, it's like suddenly getting very dark in here. I just looked it up and it's, you're right, just flipped.
Oh, really?
So it says retellings um, can be applied to historical events, myths or legends, or even classic novels. And fractured fairy tales are all about the what ifs of the story, exploring brand new angles of the classic narrative to
Right,
create something that's totally original.
right. So
So,
that I still think that applies to putting the spin on the recognizable elements
oh,
of a
for
fairy
sure.
tale.
I just thought that I think you could read a fractured fairy tale and not put it together, that
Oh, okay.
it's a retelling. Whereas I think a retelling would be like, ooh, it's a Cinderella retelling, at least from what the description says. Not like I'm an expert or anything, but I had to look it up because I um I was feeling unsure. Belle asks the question, how do you write? Yeah, she says fairy like fractured fairy tales like fan fiction, like how, there's all that fan fiction about supernatural and like if the boys were not brothers. Wink,
Mhm.
wink, nudge, nudge. It's like a what if. It's the same story, whatever, but with a different angle. Um, so how do writers find anthology opportunities? Do you
That's
have
a good
any tips
example.
on that?
I think you might have more tips on that because I don't actually go out seeking anthology opportunities. I just focused on my own work and helping like coaching.
Yeah. I I don't really know for sure because I also don't really participate in many anthologies. The ones that I have are ones that I already knew the people and we kind of all like some one of us says, "Hey, what if we were to do this thing?" That's how the anthology that I'm doing, that I have to write a fairy tale for, that's how that one came about. And another one, and really like mostly for me, they've been done as marketing opportunities, like to sort of help piggyback on each other's, like a way of authors helping other authors and also helping their readers discover it, possibly a new author. So those are the big ones for me. I have seen, if you can stand to be in groups like 20 books to 50K, um, I have to do them in very like short bursts. I belong, but I have it muted most of the time because I have to be in the right frame of mind or else it's just way too many notifications. But there are people, and you'll come to sort of recognize them, um, who are regularly seeking. So I'll find posts like that in groups like that. Like, we are putting together, here's the website for the thing, but I don't hear about it anywhere else. Um, so I would, if I were looking for opportunities right now, I would look on Facebook because there's got to be groups that are made by people who like to curate anthologies. So I would go check out some places like that. I would ask all my writer friends because they would surely have different places that they find those things than I do. Um, and I would also, if I really wanted to do it and I couldn't find one, I'd see about curating one for myself. Like for instance, Belle, since you write sci-fi and like cryptid sort of characters, is that the right word? Cryptid? Is
Yeah, I think
that
so.
the word for like monstery type
Yeah,
creatures? Um,
cryptozoology.
yeah. Um, like you could do it like we right now could say, hey, let's do a cryptid anthology. And the only requirement is that it's like every story can't be more than 20,000 words and has to feature a cryptid main character. Maybe not the protagonist or the antagonist, but like a main
Prominent.
character.
Yeah,
There you
prominent.
go. Like we could do that right now if you wanted. So, and I'm sure, and then we would be the ones putting in all of our author groups saying, hey, we're looking at building this anthology for marketing purposes, and there's no
Come and join the
buy-in or
draft.
whatever, you just whatever. Um,
You've been
yeah.
drafted. Another one that I did think of, look at conferences. I do know that a lot of conferences will do anthologies and sell them at the conference. So to help pay for to pay for the venue and
So
the
not
features
the
and
conference, but the organization that
yeah,
runs the conference.
yeah.
Um, the like
Like LTUE and Storymakers would be good examples.
Yeah, LTUE is Life, the Universe, and Everything. Also, here in Utah, there's a League of Utah Writers, and they
Yeah,
do anthologies,
pretty
and
frequently.
some of the chapters have their own anthologies. And did you know that you do not have to live in Utah to be a member of the League of Utah Writers?
What?
I think that's kind of
Preposterous.
weird, but kind of awesome. So hey, but yeah, so different check with the organizations you belong to as
Yep.
well. You never know. You just gotta go look and see what might be out there. Um, you're cute, Belle. She says, "I'm a join."
Yes.
Yes.
Do all the
Um,
things.
yeah. So speaking of conferences, are you doing any this year, either for real or for like for not real? Because Anne likes to go and have write-ins, like a writing retreat, but at the venue
Where
where
you
the
can soak
conference
up all this
is.
energy.
Yeah, but doesn't have to pay the big bucks and attend all the classes, just talks to the people. Are you planning on doing that for like story makers or the league conferences that are coming up?
I
Yes,
assume you're
no?
talking to Belle.
Story makers, are you doing that? Are you gonna do the like you did last year with me?
Are you talking to me or to Belle?
You.
Oh, yeah, no, I would love to. I was going to ask you, hey, are you going to Storymakers? Can I room with you?
um I'll get back to you on that one. Uh,
Okay. I
um
know, like, a bunch of ladies from our Writers Right group were
uh-huh.
talking about rooming together.
Oh, fun. Oh, that'll be super fun. I know, Belle, Belle's been a part of the like our writing community for a super long time, but don't you live in like Georgia or somewhere down south, y'all? Belle? Because she's like, I want to go to Storymakers with you. But I wondered where she was because she used to be a really active person in the community, but she says she's been working on her master's. Oh, she's in
Ooh, go
Texas.
you.
Um, I'm teaching at Storymakers, so I'll be there. But I really only go to conferences I'm teaching at because I'm too cheap to pay. Otherwise, I'd be doing what you were doing and like, what you do because I
Yeah.
can't afford to go. Like
Yeah.
I
And
don't
I
that
also feel, sorry.
I was just going to say it's not entirely true. I have paid for and gone to Becca Syme's conferences where I haven't taught at. And it, and they were expensive, but really awesome, just expensive. So, and congratulations, Belle. That's amazing. You're going to graduate in May. That's so
Yay.
awesome.
Muppet
I want to know
flail.
what your master's is going to be in or is in. So then what were you going to say, Anne?
Oh, I also don't really attend conferences because after like two classes, I'm just worn out for the day.
Oh,
And also I always feel like unless it's panels that you just listen to everybody's opinion,
mhm.
um the actual classes are already stuff that I already know.
Oh,
So it doesn't bear weight in paying like $200 to go to a conference.
yeah. Yeah, I get that. Um, your learner must be very low on your like strengths thing. I don't know. Um, I want to go to a writing retreat this year,
I thought you
but
wanted to make one together.
that's what I was going to say. I want to go to
Okay.
one, but one that like a dojo one. I want to go
Yeah,
to a
that is on
Story
our
Ninja
terms.
retreat.
Oh,
And
what if we actually held it at a dojo?
yeah,
I
yeah.
could talk to my master and see because they close down for a week or two in the summer and also over Christmas.
Wait a second. What did you say then? What if we what?
Held it at an
Oh,
actual like
held it.
facility. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Even if it was only like
I
an
thought you
intensive
said call
overnighter.
it the dojo. I'm
I was
confused.
like, I could see like if we could actually rent one.
I know. Like you said, I'm sure we could, but it would not everyone might enjoy that special smell that dojos have.
What do you mean nobody likes feet?
Even though they usually get super cleaned during that break
Yeah.
time, but
I can I can attest how clean our studio is every day because there's always somebody like wiping stuff down and
yeah,
sweeping and mopping and
yeah.
we're super clean.
But I kind of have something a little more zen in mind.
Okay.
But we should definitely have some mats for I don't know, even just symbolically. I don't know. Um, so Belle said her master's is in instructional systems design and technology, which would probably be like the online school curriculum type stuff, like the infrastructure for that kind of thing. That's probably hot stuff these
Yeah.
days. So,
Boku
well,
butts.
um, that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
You have the kata for today.
Oh gosh, is that me? Am I supposed to do that?
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
gave it to
yours.
you, so what?
I
I've given the kata like the last three times.
thought we did the kata that went along with our lesson.
Okay. What? I gotta think what. Okay. The kata, I had to remember what I wrote to you. The kata for this week, your practice is to go forth, look at fairy tales and create a concept for a fractured fairy tale. So take the elements you know and make a concept of how you spin them into an original tale.
Okay. And
That's your kata.
we need to write down our katas so that the next week
We can come
we
back to them.
can check up on them. Because like you've given us write a hook, write a great first sentence, different things and it would be fun to check in on them and So I'm writing it down.
Ooh.
Conceive of a fractured fairy tale concept
Yep.
and report. Oh my gosh, I look down. This is pretty much how my writing looks when I write what I have dreamed. Because like I was talking to you, but I was pretty sure, even if it wasn't on the line, that I was forming words. That's how I feel in the middle of the night when I get up to write an amazing story that I have to get down. And then I look at it and
Like when the shoe.
it is completely, and my fast writing is practically illegible anyway, but that is super not legible. So um anyways, thank you, Belle. Belle has friended me on Facebook again. She regrets leaving Facebook or social media in general. It's a love-hate relationship
For
always for
sure.
me. But I do feel most connected to my writing community there. Twitter can be pretty, used to be pretty good, but I think it's more agents and editors that I would like watch there. But Facebook is where the groups are that are doing things, etc. All right. Thank you for that really interesting lesson, Coach Ann. It was really
Yeah.
good. Um,
Oh,
next week,
wow.
what are we doing next week? I know it's my turn. Bye, Belle. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming.
You were going to talk about like mythology and heritage,
Okay.
I
Something like
believe.
that. Yeah.
I sent
So
you the
that's next
schedule
week.
on Google Docs.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Um, thanks for watching, guys. Thank you especially to Belle. She hung with us the whole time. She's a rock star. If I knew how to give like stars or sprinkle dust and such, I totally would. Um,
Spike Ninja Stars. Choo, 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 choo,
yeah,
choo.
so we're like Kia for her. So, um, have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week in the dojo. Bye. I always forget that I need to come over here and turn them off. So, bye, guys.